Hello guys, can you hear me okay? Wait, can I hear you? No, I can't. All right, speak again. Abigail, how are we today? Is there something up with my speaker? No, it's fine. Can you hear me? What about Davina? Ah, okay. So there are people alive out there. Evelyn, are you alive? Are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Ah, all right. All right. And I see a few others here. So today we are I'm still not 100% yet. I think I'm like 99.5. But when I talk a lot. So guess what happened to me today, guys? Apparently, the time zone changed on Sunday. So I arrived to one of my classes 1 hour late. Give me 1 second. All right. Sorry about that. Mm-hmm. All right. So I was just saying that I arrived to one of my class an hour late because I'm not used to that switch. Because where I am, there's a 1 hour time difference based on class time. Anyway, I'm getting back my internal clock recalibrated. And we are going to continue with nope, this is not you. You guys are seeing my screen? I'm sharing, right? I think I am. Are you sharing my screen okay? Guys? Anybody?
What's the question, sir?
Yes,
You
sir.
see? Okay, I was asking if you seen my screen okay. All right.
Sir, I have a quick question before you start.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to put the different scenes into layout after I do it.
Mm-hmm.
How do I, but it's only making me like put in one scene. I don't know if like
Okay, I see you. Anybody
like
else having the same challenge?
I have it over here,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go to where do I go again?
Mm-hmm.
SketchUp model.
Mm-hmm.
And it says viewport, right? And then it says scene. And I
Mm-hmm.
can only select one scene. But like, how do I put in all three of the scenes that I want to put in?
Oh, you duplicate the view.
Hmm.
Did I upload the video for that class?
Well, you uploaded a video, but it wasn't for
It wasn't the SketchUp one where we went into scenes.
it wasn't for our year. I'm pretty sure it was like a different it wasn't for the class that we had
Really?
last yeah.
Oh
So
man,
you
did
didn't have
I
the part where we went into layout.
um oh, hold on. Let me check that. Did I upload a wrong did I put a wrong link? Let me see. There we go. So the last thing, what was this now? Studio-based assignment. Right. So, oh no, I don't upload it yet. That's why. But the studio-based, this is the last thing. So I didn't upload the last class that we did. So, I will do that. I will do that in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, if you need to I like this model, this SketchUp model that I have here, and I have saved some scenes. So I saved a scene where the model is. All right, let me go to styles first and let me make it where it has the white background. Right. So let's say I save
Are
a.
you sharing SketchUp? I can't see it. I'm just seeing a bunch of different screens.
Oh no, my bad. Wrong screen. Wrong screen. Yeah. Right. So I'm saying that if you're in SketchUp and I save this as a scene, and let's say I save the top view, camera, top, and parallel. Right. So let's say I save the top view as another scene. And let's say I save the side view as a scene. Right, let's say I save that. So I have 3 scenes, and then I say file, send to layout. Well, it's telling me I have to save the model, which I just did. Right. So remember, I've also set up my style from SketchUp, because the style that I set up have a white background. So that is also important, because if your style have like clouds and a gradient, then when you go into layout, you're going to get clouds and a gradient as well. Okay, so it's asking me to choose my size. I'm going to choose letter size, landscape. And there you go. It gives you one scene. So as I was saying a while ago, all I need to do is to make this smaller. And then I need to just copy, paste. So now I have 2 copies of the same scene. But then I just change one of them from scene 3 to scene 1. You understand?
Oh, sir, I was at a crossroads because I finished, but then I was just like, how do I get the different scenes? So thank you.
Right. Yeah. So that's all you do. You copy them. All right. So glad I could help with that. All right. So guess what, guys? We are almost there, because if you look on our assignments here, we have finished all 5 exercises. We have finished the studio-based assignment. Remember, the studio-based assignment. Wait a minute. Oh, right. You submitted it on the mirror board. That's right. I keep forgetting. Oh, I have an... Okay. Right. So you have finished the studio-based assignment. That's the one where you submitted your poster. And we are in the middle of assignment 1. So we are almost done. Right? After this week, we will be moving to the major project. So we are coming to the end of our module. I hope it's been fun so far. I usually do a like a survey. Like this is at the last class, we talk about the things that you learn and if you think that you needed to learn more and blah blah blah. But we still have some more stuff to learn. So we're not over the hump yet. We still have the major project left, and we have about 3 weeks. I think we're making good pace. Now this is what we have for assignment 1, right? Last week we learned how to model from dimensions and how to model from a sketch. So you are now equipped to do step 1, which is to create the 3D model. Today, we're going to learn how to do some compositing in Photoshop. Actually, sometimes I like to have, I don't think we have the time to do this though, but sometimes I would do this when you guys have anybody started this model yet? Oh, wait, guess what? You guys can't start it yet because I just realized that the link isn't here to get to the drawings. Yeah, I'm just realizing that, guys. I mean, the drawings are on the website, but still, usually I have a link. Oh, dear Lord. I mean, it's okay because I didn't really expect anybody to start to model this building yet because we just learned about modeling last week. But this week, I expect everybody to finish the model for this building. Now, there is a link. I'm about to update this now. Give me a second. There is a link that takes you to all the drawings for this model. And I usually put the link on the handout. Or I can also put them on the mirror board as well. Does everybody here should have access to the mirror board, right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to put it in both places. So that way, whether you go to the mirror board or you go to the handout, it goes to the same place. Right? I just need to find that that link. Okay. Well, let me do this. I'm just adding those links to the handout, guys, so that you guys can access the drawings. Actually, today in the working session, I'm going to start this model with you. So I want you guys to come with your SketchUp ready because I want to make sure that I put you guys on the right track. So just let me. In the meantime, does anybody have any questions while I update this? While I update these links, any questions regarding the assignment? Drawing files.
Which assignment, sir?
That's this assignment that you see on screen, which is our assignment 1, right? That's worth 25%.
No, nothing.
Okay, link to. Link to Entourage. Yeah, I think that's all in. And one more link to backgrounds. I'm just adding in these links so you can get access to these files. After today, you guys should be well on your way to finishing this assignment. As a matter of fact, we're gonna go through. I'm gonna get you started on the assignment now. So I want you guys to have your SketchUp. Does everybody have their SketchUp ready? Share. I want you all to get your SketchUp ready. We are going to start. Last week we did this with the exercise 5 where we did with the Lego brick. So this week we're actually gonna start this assignment, and I want everybody to follow along with me. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole assignment. I'm not going to hold your hand throughout the whole thing, but I'm just going to put you on the right track so that you are good to go.
Sir, I don't have access to the mirror board.
No, I don't. You don't have to worry about that. You really just need to have your SketchUp ready. All right. But you have access to the class website, though. That's the important part. Come on, internet. Keep up with me. All right, lovely. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. The internet is just, I think because I'm on Zoom. When I try to edit stuff, it just takes much longer. So let's bear with me a little bit. Okay, share Google Drive and copy. Oh my Lord, this is so slow. Okay. Okay. This now. Okay. Then I need to go to mass. Put this up. File, manage versions, upload new version. Okay. No, I need to go to DDM. And all right, finally. Okay. Okay, guys. So now, if you go on the class website, or if you're on the website, you have to press refresh. I'm just going to refresh. And now when you go to assignment 1, you should see this button here. This button links you to the assignment files, right? So in the assignment files, you have all the drawings in order for you to model this. You also have some Photoshop backgrounds in order for you to create step 2. And then you have some entourage like trees and stuff like that to help as well. So when I click this, it will take me to a Google Drive, and see you have 2D trees, backgrounds, plans. So when you go into plans, these are what you see. So here is the floor plan. Can I zoom? Yes, that has all the measurements. Here is the elevation that has some measurements. There is also a view of the model, because of course I modeled it myself. And what we have here, I have created a cheat sheet for you. So basically, for those of you who are not sure how to start, I give you some, I would say, some guide images of how I created the model. Now, you don't have to follow this. This is just how, how I created it, right? There you go. And I purposefully did it as screenshots. I didn't want to do it as videos because I want you guys to figure out how to do the model. You guys have to know how to model going forward. This is what your layout should look like, right? So remember that. How do I go to the? Okay, now it's this. Right. Remember that step 1 is to create the model. Step 2 is to put it in a background. And step 3, you're going to lay it out on a layout sheet. And this is what the layout sheet, where did I open it? Anyway, this is what the layout sheet looks like, or should look like. So you should have a plan, basic dimensions, an image of your Photoshop that you created, a 3D section, an elevation, and a side view. Now, we basically did everything you need to do. We basically went through 1 and 3 last week. Because last week we created, remember when we did our sketch last week? No, that's not the right one. Oh, right. Right. So generally, you remember this that we did last week?
Yes, sir.
And I did the first one for you. And you guys were to model the other 3 and to use your own custom style, right? And we were supposed to, then we also did the Lego brick. I don't think I have it on the mirror board. Nope. And the Lego brick where we learned how to put it in layout. So what we're going to do today is I am going to get you started with the model. It's a good idea that you follow along to get started with the model. When you leave class today, well, I know you have some other classes, but I want us to try and get as far as possible with the model. When we come back in our working session, I'm going to go through with you how you can set up your Photoshop view with your background. And that will be our lessons for today. So after today, you should be armed with being able to do 1, 2, and 3. So after today, I'm done with you with assignment 1. You will be on your own where you can complete it. I'm only going to hold your hand partially, right? And then we're going to move on. Next week, we're going into a new topic called hybrid images. And that would lead us into our final project. And your final project, there will be no hand holding. So I will not be doing any tutorials on what to do. You will be totally 100% on your own to complete your final project. But for now, I will do just a little hand holding to make sure that I want to make sure that you guys are on the right track. All right, guys?
Okay, sir.
All right, so let us get going with how do we create this model. So I want you guys to open this so you can access the handout. Remember, you go to the class website, look for assignment 1, click on it, and then you click link to assignment files. And there you will see everything you need. Today we're going to use the plans. So you're going to go in the plans, and this is where you will see the actual floor plan. All right. So that's what I want you guys to do. Go ahead and do that now. And now I'm going to go through how we would start that assignment. So if you want to get ahead of the game, get your SketchUp ready so that we can put you on the right track. Where are we? We are at assignment.
Sir, my internet is very slow to download or even open the portal.
Oh no. Well, what I can do, I can paste that link for you in the chat. Maybe that will be a little faster for you. So let me go here and I'll just copy this link. This should work. And I'll just paste it in the chat. Actually, no, it didn't. I think I have to open the link first and then copy it. Paste in the chat. And I say link to access assignment files. All right, guys. So it's in the chat for those of you who find it a little challenging because of the internet connection. All right. We are ready to go.
Okay, now for those of you who might be trying to decide how do I start this modeling of this building, I want to provide just some pointers to just point you in the right direction. Now, if you head over to the class website here, you go to the handout, and if you...
By the way, guys, are you hearing the audio okay? Are you seeing the video okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now,
You go over to, let's
right. Now, of course, the handout has changed over the years. So where I'm actually going to is the same folder, but the design of the handout has changed. If you notice that I'm pointing you to the plans folder, so everybody should be accessing the plans folder, and this is where you go to access all the plans. So this is where we are now.
thing that I might notice is that, come on, we're gonna zoom in just a tad. Actually, let's download it so we can see it better. So we're gonna download it and open that up. There we go. So you might notice that these drawings are in millimeters. So we want to be using a millimeter unit. Now, some persons might choose to take this drawing into Photoshop and maybe, you know, cut it and clean it up a little bit more. But if you don't want to actually do that, I want to show you another method that you can use by just dragging the drawing in SketchUp. So for example, if I go to SketchUp here and I just download this drawing and just drag it directly into SketchUp, you will see that it pops up here. And that's great. However, right away, this is supposed to be 5,500 thereabout, right? So, and this is actually 1,800. I know it's a bit blurry, but you can kind of make out the numbers. Now, obviously, if I use my pencil tool and draw a line here, and I draw another line roughly about here, there we go, and I'm going to use my dimension tool. Now notice I'm using the large tool set. So remember, you go to view, toolbars, and you turn on the large tool set, and that's what gives you these tools here. So I am going to actually use the dimension tool, and let's see what this dimension is here. Come on. Wait. Let's do that again. We need to be clicking the point. Here we go. Let's angle it a little bit. That's good enough. Right. So, oh, actually I'm not in millimeters, so let me change that real quick. So I'm going to go to view, and I'm going to go to model info, right? And that is basically telling us information about the 3D model, including the units. So my unit is set to architectural, so we're going to set that to engineering, and we're going to carry our decimal points to none. We don't need any decimal places. All right, good. And oh, we do want to change it to decimal, right? And then change it to millimeters. There we go. And then we set our precision. Yeah, that's correct. All right. Okay, good. Now let's close this. Now we can see here that this measures not 5,500. So obviously when you drag your image into SketchUp, you can't just start modeling, because it is not going to equate to the dimensions. Let's close this tab here. I don't need that, right? So that's the first thing. So the first thing we need to do is actually scale our drawing. Now, to scale our drawing, all we need to do is to set up a reference measurement. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me delete this dimension here. Now, we know that, well, let me leave that dimension. We know that this distance here does not equal 5,500. So what is 5,500? Well, if I draw a line from, let's say I draw a line from here, and I'm going to now type with my keyboard. I want you to notice this section down here. This is telling me the length that I have currently, right? So I'm going to actually type in this section. Let's do that again. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to type 5,500 and press enter. Now, according to this, 5,500 is all the way down here. So obviously, my entire drawing that's about this needs to be rescaled, and possibly will be something like about that. So I need to now rescale this drawing here by upsizing it. Now, in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use this quick and easy trick. We're going to select that base there. We're going to go to the scale tool, and we are going to just use these corners, and we're just going to just about eyeball it. When I say eyeball, meaning we're going to look and see when it reaches this point here. Now, that's the best we can do because this is actually a sketch. It's not vector lines, so it is not going to be 100%. And that's going to play a key part in what I'll say right after. So if I go to camera and I change my view to a top view, there we go. So we can see this a little better. And, you know, I might want this to get a little smaller. Let me zoom in a bit. Let's make that a little smaller here. Now, if you're trying to scale it and it's not quite giving you what you want, I want you to keep your eyes down in this part down right here, right? So notice as I try and scale, it's really jumping, there we go, by pretty much 0.01 every time I move this around. So if I was jumping between these two spots and I wanted it to land exactly, then I can see that's one, these two spots, 0, 1. This as I try and scale, it's really jumping, there we go, by pretty much 0.01 every time I move this around. So if I was jumping between these two spots and I wanted it to land exactly, then I can see that's 1 and that's 0.99. So I could just type in, you know, maybe when I go to scale, I could just type in 0.995 and it will just drop right in the middle there. So you can always type in a value if the value that you want isn't popping up, like this one here. You know, maybe you want it to be in that, so I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to type 0.995. There we go. So that's just another tip that you can use there. All right, so now that we have this scaled, we would do the same thing for the elevation. So if I go back to my folder, there, I want to go to the elevation, and I'm going to download the elevation as well. Okay, now I'm not going to go through the entire model because this is indeed an assignment. It's something that you guys would need to do on your own, definitely. However, let me tell you something about SketchUp. If you start wrong, then everything else in your model will be incorrect actually. So I'm just giving you some options to start your drawing. All right, so this is the elevation here. Now in this case, I'm going to use my move tool and just kind of move this out of the way. There we go. Now ideally the elevation walls should line up, so what I would do here, I would just actually trace a line from here. Make sure that this line is straight. You want to make sure that it is as straight as possible. And I would seek to do the same thing with the elevation. I'm going to take my move tool and, well, I'm just going to kind of center it a little bit, and then I'm going to scale it. There we go. Scale this side down as well. A little smaller. So all I'm doing now is pretty much just eyeballing it. And the reason again why I'm eyeballing it is because it's not as if though I'm eyeballing it, I'm still going to use the dimensions. And this is the point that I wanted to get to. The dimensions are more important than what you eyeball. Let me repeat. The dimensions that you do here are more important than what you eyeball. Right? So for example, if you're going to draw let's say you're going to draw this wall here. And this wall must equal 5,500. But if you eyeball it, if I say, let me start here and draw a line here and go across like that, then what you might notice is that this wall that you have here, this line that you drew here, is not actually 5,500. As a matter of fact, this line is 5,526. So this is the key point I'm saying. You're not going to model your building based off eyeballing it. You're going to model your building based off dimensions. Now, the only reason I've chosen to show you this method of kind of eyeballing it to line up is that you want to kind of know that you're on the right path. So it's just used as a kind of check-in device. Also, it's used for
Sorry, yeah. Right. This is another important point. And this is what throws a lot of people off when they're working on the model. So part of this model is about proportions and estimations, because not all dimensions are there. However, other parts of the model, the dimensions are there. So what does this mean? This means that dimensions always supersede eyeballing. So the point that I just showed you a while ago is where, yes, if you scale your page or your drawing, put it in SketchUp and you eyeball it, meaning you put the mouse where you think the line is and then draw the line, you will not get an accurate measurement. Now, the only time you do eyeballing is when you don't have a measurement. When you do have a measurement, the measurement supersedes eyeballing, meaning that the measurement of the house should be 5,500 in length, regardless of however you scale the model, because you have this dimension. Now, let's say that you have this internal dimension. You don't have this. So yeah, then you can trace it because you don't have it. But where you have dimensions, you have to input those exact dimensions and not eyeball it. Marvin, do you understand what I'm saying? Marvin? Is Marvin and Nicole there? Okay, good. Yes, Marvin, I see you. All right, so let's continue.
Areas that do not have any dimensions. So for example, let's say this couch that is here. Now, I don't expect you guys to model the couch, but if you were going to get a couch from, let's say, the internet, from 3D Warehouse, which I'm going to show you how to do in a bit, you want to get one that is pretty much the same size, and there are no dimensions given for the couch. So in essence, you have to eyeball something like that. But for things that have definite measurement, like the width of this window, that window must be 850, not what you guesstimate it is by tracing it. Right? Now you can also model without you using any kind of referencing, meaning I could start modeling this building without dragging in my drawings inside the viewport. But for a drawing that you don't have all the measurements for, and you know that it's proportionally accurate, you want to drag in your building, your drawings, to make sure that you're on the right track. So that is a very important point. I don't expect anybody's house, when I measure it, it should be less or more than 5,500, regardless of what this very blurry drawing is saying. Now, pretty much at this point, in my opinion, I would start drawing from the floor plan and kind of work my way up. I would use things like the rectangle tool. And you can see me using the rectangle tool there. Now, again, notice how I'm using the rectangle tool to get my wall there. Now, I'm not going to eyeball the depth of this wall because I actually have the measurements here, right? You can see that this distance here is 2,650 and this one is 3,050. Now, of course, when I minus those two numbers, I get 400. That would mean that 200 would be the width of my wall here. So this length here would be 200 and this length here would be 200. Now, because I know that it's 200, I'm not going to use my drawings to guess what it is. Instead, I'm going to ensure that this width is 200. So if I click this line there, I can see that this is not actually 200. So I'm going to need to make that 200 there. Now, I could do this by just grabbing my line there. Then I'm going to make this line 200. I'm going to drag this all the way up there. And remember, I already know that this from here to here, oops, you want to make sure that these lines are straight. Now, here's another important tip. If a line is lean, it is going to actually destroy your entire drawing, right? And when I say destroy, I mean when you get to a further point in the model, you're going to realize that your roof and everything is not lining up, and chances are that will happen because from the foundation some of these lines were actually not accurate. So you want to ensure to use accurate line work. Use lines that are parallel and so forth. Now here is another interesting tip. Now notice if I try to put my mouse here, it's not showing me this intersection, right? You see this intersection here. Now this is something that will also commonly happen to you, and I want you to watch closely as I try to manipulate this intersection. It's just not working out. And why isn't it working out? Well, if I kind of orbit my thing this way, you realize that the intersection, these lines don't actually intersect, but one line is on top of the other. But when you look at it from this point of view here, they look like they do intersect. So this is another one of those common issues as well, and that is actually because this line is actually hovering above the line. So these are things that will happen to you as you model and go along, and you know, when something is wrong, it's much easier to delete it and actually draw it over. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to go across here and type 200. Now I know that you might be saying, no way am I deleting a line and drawing.
Yeah, by the way, there's a slight delay with I don't know if you noticed, with the video and the voice. So let's keep that in mind.
Drawing it over, but in SketchUp it actually works out to be much easier to do that. Now notice I'm getting an intersection here, right? And if I use my eraser tool, it will actually erase these extended lines. So I can actually erase this tool here as well, and it will only leave me with those sections there. Oh, I actually need to draw this line down now, so I may have deleted that by mistake. Alright, here it is. Now you want to ensure that your lines actually snap. So notice that my line snapped to the green axis there, and once I do that, you will see it infills. Now once it's infilled, that means that your line is flat and accurate. Well, for the most part. Sometimes it's not. But you want to ensure that that is accurate. So I'm not eyeballing to get this measurement because I actually have the measurement. Now the next thing you want to do, so for example, if I want to draw this wall across now, I can start using the rectangle tool, and I could, if I know that this is 2850 by 200, I can write 2850 comma 200. I can write 2850, and I know that will be the exact length, comma 200. There we go. And I know that that will be the exact length. So I can actually type in dimensions as well. And for this line here, if I really wanted to, I could really just delete that line because they're all on the same plane. So that in essence is how you kind of get going. And don't be surprised if there are things that you have to build twice as you go along. This is a learning method as well. Now there are other tools that you're going to find out that will make your life a little easier. For example, let's look at the window tool, and I'm just going to draw. I'm going to just show a little example here. So let's say I extrude this wall upward like that. Because there was a drawing here, that's why I'm getting a line here. So I want to remove that line, so I'm going to use my eraser tool and erase that line. Now I know that there is a window here. Now because there is no dimensions for where the window is, but it's quite actually evident that it is in the center of this 1800 space, right? So remember, you want to be as accurate as possible. So I'm going to start here, and I'll draw a reference line. And this is 200, and I'm actually just drawing a line to help me guide me as to where these things are. And then after the 200, I have this being 1800. Now notice when I come back down here, if I can just, there we go. I'm just gonna snap. Now I'm actually looking for this blue line that's right there. Now once I get the blue line, I can hold shift, and that way I don't have to worry about being lean again. Now notice that this may or may not exactly land on this line, but it doesn't matter because I know for a fact that this line here is 1800, and that's what matters, not necessarily what the sketch is showing me. The dimensions is what matters. Now the sketch only matters for elements that you can't tell how wide those elements are. So you have to remember that. Alright. Now I don't know what is the width of this window, but I can pretty much tell that it is in the center of this wall here. So I would need to now find the midpoint of this wall here, which is like that. Now remember, when you draw a line, you're actually cutting the polygon. If you remember from the exercises, I could have also used the tape measure tool and just project a line. I could do it this way, where I click this edge here and project a line off this edge, that's that dashed line, and project it to this center point here, and that's how I would get a point here. Then I don't know exactly how far this is, but I could get the idea that I'm trying to do here is that I am trying to offset a point there and offset a point there, and these two offsets must be equal. Now I could use what's called my offset tool, and my offset tool is actually located here. That's my offset tool there. Now, if I use the offset tool, I could offset the, oh, I can't actually offset a measurement. I can only offset the actual line. So let's use an actual line. I'm just going to draw a line there so I can use the offset tool. So if I click on this line here, that was the problem. This is not the offset tool. The offset tool is this tool here, not the one above. The one above is called a follow me tool, which is another advanced tool. Okay, so we're going to use the offset tool. All right, so I'm going to click that line here. And now the way how the offset tool works is, if this was an element here, as you can see, if I click it, it's going to offset it to be a particular distance here. Now, what I want to achieve is, maybe the offset tool wouldn't work in this case. So, because ideally what I want to do is, I want to use my tape tool actually. That would be a better tool. So let's go for my tape tool, and I want to offset this line here. But once you use the pencil tool, and if I watch my length, this is looking like about maybe 200 and it's probably higher than this, but this is, and I'm going to click this line here and offset it 200. Besides, you can actually, maybe it's not that small, maybe it's actually a little bigger. So that would give me, but once you use the pencil tool, it's now for that I can just assume that the height of my window is also going to be 260. It's going to 60 plus 260. So pretty much I have constructed the guidelines for my window there. Now I definitely don't need these lines here getting in the way, so let me remove these lines actually. To remove that dimension, and I'll also remove, oops, there's a line that, so I'm going to use my tape tool. See that it pops up. I'm just going to offset this tape down here. There we go. So that I can remove that line. So notice that these lines that I put in, I always try to remove them when I'm not using them. What you can keep are the measurement lines, because they are not impacting your drawing. But once you use the pencil tool, it's going to cut your polygons. But now it would, I mean, it's probably higher than this, but this is just an example that I'm giving you guys. Besides, you can actually move this window when it's actually done by using the move tool. If the window was supposed to be higher, you could actually move the window higher. Magnesium classes starts in 30 minutes. So notice that
time is 4 p.m.
Notice that I would have to estimate the height of this window here, because this doesn't really tell me the height, but we could assume that the height is the same height as the door, which would be a reasonable assumption, right? Which would mean that the height of the window from the ground would be 2,250. So I just need to measure 2,250 from the ground inside. But notice that the ground inside here, we get an idea that if we subtract this measurement here from this measurement here, it would give us the height of the ground, and hence the measurement in between. So we can make the assumption that the wall, the width, the depth of the floor is pretty much the same as the width of the wall here. So that would make it 200. So to get the floor depth, by the time you finish drawing these walls in, you would end up having a floor that you can just draw in between all of the walls that you have. So let's see here. Let's use my tape measure tool, and I could offset this 200. There we go. info. Right, and that is basically telling us
That looks
information
about right.
about the 3D model. And that is basically telling us
offset
information.
this. How far is this? Go back here. Okay, yeah. So we have a dimension here that we can actually use. So, so what we want to do is work out what this dimension would be here. And that would work out to be
basically
about
telling us
200,
information about the
400
model
between that
including
distance
the
there.
units.
So
my units is
I
set
could
to
offset
architectural,
this
so we're gonna set that
at
to engineering,
like that.
and we're gonna carry our decimal.
So that's how we get that
points
dash line
to-
there.
No, we don't need any decimal.
Now we can easily offset this line to this point.
We do want to change it to decimal, right? And then change it to millimeter units. So my units is set to architectural, so we're going to set
Wait, have you guys stopped hearing it? Hello? Are you guys there?
Yeah, man, we are here.
No, but were you hearing the rest of the explanation?
No, sorry, I wasn't here.
Right, I noticed it not. What's happening? What's happening, computer? My goodness. Come on, computer.
Okay, now is the
Okay.
element than this the height, but having
Right, this is where I
a
was.
floor that you can just draw in between all of the walls that you have. So let's see here. Let's use my tape measure tool, and I could offset this 200.
Remember, there's
There we
a,
go.
I don't know, like a 10-second delay or something. I don't
That
know
looks
why.
about right. And draw a line here.
I could offset
And
this.
I draw another line.
How far is this?
roughly
Go back
about
here.
here.
Okay, yeah. So we have a dimension here that we can actually use.
And I'm going to use my dimension
So,
tool. Now notice I'm using the large tool set. So remember, you go to
So
view,
what we want to do
toolbars,
is
and you
work
turn
out
on
what
the large tool set. And
this dimension
that's what
would
gives
be
you.
here.
And draw a line here.
And that would work out to be
And draw
about
a line
200.
here.
About 400 between that distance there.
That's what
So
gives you these
I could
tools here.
offset this at 400.
That's what gives you
like that.
these tools here. So I am going to actually use the dimension tool.
So that's how we get that dash line there. Now we can easily offset this line to this point.
So what is 5,500? Well,
Oh, actually, oh man, it looks like my video was damaged. Okay, guys, but we've pretty much come to the end of the video anyway. This is as far as I show you how to continue with the model. So you guys are going to figure out the rest on your own by actually just starting the model. All right, guys.
okay, hello and
Okay, guys. All right. So, what I want you guys to do now is that you guys are going to actually start working on the assignment model. I want everybody to get their SketchUp file and using some of the lessons that we just learned a while ago. Remember, there's also a cheat sheet where I took some screenshots of the process of me modeling it, and you guys can use that screenshot as a kind of a guide. The main thing that you need to remember is that whenever there's a dimension, you need to type in that dimension, right? Whenever there is not a dimension, then you can use proportions or eyeballing. All right? So I want you guys to go ahead and start this model right now, if you haven't started already. And if you are having any challenges, I'm right here. I have about another, 30 minutes basically for class. So this 30 minutes is going to be dedicated to you guys starting the model. Now, when you come to the class, to the working session later, we're actually going to be going into the compositing. This is the Photoshop aspect of it. Now, some of you might, I don't know, depending on how fast some of you model, some of you might actually have the shell of your model ready for the afternoon session, which is really what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that by the end of this class, even if you don't have in the windows and all of that, you can at least have done the shell of the model, and that way you have something to follow through for the evening session. All right, so I'm gonna hang out here with you guys while you start the model. If any of you are having any trouble, you just share your screen and I can help you to get through it. All right, Kristen. Are you there, Kristen? No. Okay, Leonardo. Are you there, Leonardo? No, Leonardo not here? What about Mikisha? Mikisha? Okay, no, Mikisha not here. All right, what about Chambers?
Sure, what was the question?
Okay. No, I was just confirming that you got the plan of action going forward.
Oh, yes, sir.
Right. Right. All right. Who else is not here? What about Shamario? Are you here, Shamario?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you hear what the plan of action was? What's the plan of action?
We're to try and get the structure done, even if we don't get the window done before the evening session.
All right. And we have half an hour to do it. So let us start. So I'm just going to be chilling here with you while you guys get modeling in SketchUp.
Sir,
Yes.
what's that cavity in the wall by the kitchen side? Does that go all the way up to the roof?
No, you can just carry it just up to the top of the wall.
All right, okay, cool.
Mhm. You know, guys, in one of the jobs I recently did where the architect needed to propose a facade. But in order to propose a facade, we needed to draw a facade. So what we did is we drove on site. Well, I drove on site and the facade is in front of me in real life. And I had my tablet there. Not my tablet, my laptop. And I had a mouse and keyboard. And I just modeled up the facade as a sketch. Just like how you have an artist that would look on a model posing and they would, draw with lines. It's the same thing. I look on the building and I draw with line tool, rectangle tool, push, pull, mirror, all the things that we're doing here now. And this is the power of SketchUp, right? You can literally just sketch something up in 3D. And this is something that you guys need to definitely master in architecture because in order for you to create your design, you need to have it a prototype that you can push and pull and you can sketch over it and yes, you can sketch it on paper, but especially nowadays, guys, you have to be able to translate your sketch into 3D. And this is exactly what these tasks are targeting. All right. So yeah, go forth and model. All right. While I'm here, I'm going to be uploading the latest videos because I do believe that last week video is not on the class website. So let me do that. Everybody getting through? What about Anthony? You getting through, Anthony?
So I'm getting the exercise first ready.
All right, cool, cool. Sidel, how are you doing? How is it coming along?
Yes, sir, it's coming along well.
It's coming along. All right, do your thing, do your thing. All right. Gavin?
Sir, it's going well, sir. So it's okay.
Yeah, man, you're whipping it up. All right, lovely, lovely. What about the people that weren't here? What about Leonardo? Are you here now? No? Still not here? Okay. All right, guys. Hmm.
Hmm.